Welcome to this series of lectures on prepositions. This is lecture number 4, and in this video we'll be looking at how prepositions go with other parts of speech like the verbs, adjectives and nouns, and what specific relations do different prepositions have when it comes to combinations with verbs, adjectives and nouns. We'll begin with this lecture with the prepositional verbs. When a verb combines with a preposition, what we get is generally we call as a prepositional verb. So for example, if we say ask for, the first word is a verb and the second one is the preposition. So this combination of verbs in a broader sense are also called as phrasal verbs. But phrasal verbs can be combinations of verbs plus adverbs and also prepositions. But today we are only going to look at this combination of verb and prepositions, which are called as prepositional verbs. Now, which preposition goes after which verb is mainly a matter of idiom or a practice. So some verbs can take a number of different prepositions. If we consider what happens with the verb look and which prepositions actually go with the verb look, there can be many options. Come and look at the view. In this sentence, look at can mean to watch. We spent an hour looking around the shops. Looking round can mean go about searching. Can you help me look for my checkbook? Whereas look for could mean searching for something. I had to stay at home to look after the dog, where look after can mean take care. The police were looking into the incident. Looking into can mean investigating the incident. People look on this neighborhood as the least desirable in town. Now look on here can mean uh, view with respect or view with disrespect. So what we observe here is that when we add a preposition to a given verb, the meaning can take an idiomatic turn, which sometimes can be literal like look at, but other times can carry a figurative meaning like look after, or look for, or looking into. Now let's look at some more examples to understand how prepositions go with different types of verbs. The man admitted to the crime. We can also say the man confessed to the crime. It all amounts to quite a lot of money. It can also be said it all comes to quite a lot of money. We apologize for the delay. Tina has applied for dozens of jobs. That's no way to behave to your friends or behave towards your friends. Who does this bag belong to? So, to goes with belong. We should benefit from the tax changes. I came across the article in a magazine. The car collided with a van. So with goes with collide, across goes with came, and from goes with benefit. I want to concentrate on my maths. The flat consists of 4 rooms. So of is the preposition that we generally associate with consists, and on is the preposition which we generally associate with the verb concentrate. We managed to cope with all of these difficulties. The car crashed into a wall. I have to deal with the arrangements. We can also say I'll have to see about the arrangements. The price depends on when you travel. So on goes with depends. Can you dispose of the rubbish? We have to do without luxuries. we have to go without luxuries. So do without or go without could mean manage without something. You didn't fall for that trick, did you? I don't feel like doing any work. Brown doesn't go with gray. That means doesn't match with gray. Has anything like that ever happened to you? Happened too. Now let's go for understanding some specific cases with prepositions going with verbs. Now about, of and to are prepositions which go with some verbs expressing speech or thought. About can come after many verbs. Like we were talking about house prices. They complained about the noise. Someone was inquiring about reservations. We can sometimes use of meaning about. For example, the Prime Minister spoke of prospects for industry. The Prime Minister spoke about prospects for industry or spoke of prospects for industry. But when we want to use of meaning about, that is rather formal. Of can have different meaning from about. I was thinking about that problem, which could mean it was like turning over in my mind. I couldn't think of the man's name, which means that it didn't come into my mind. So if something is going on in the mind, it's about thinking about. If something doesn't come into the mind, it's like think of. We are thinking of taking a holiday, or we are thinking this about taking a holiday. Both cases which could mean decider. What did you think of the hotel? Opinion. I heard about your recent success. Congratulations. So what we came to know. But we used to always before a person. We were talking to our friends. They complained to the neighbors. Sometimes we do not use a preposition after some verbs. For example, in the case of the verbs like accompany, answer, approach, control, demand, desire, discuss, enter, expect, influence, lack, marry, obey, reach, remember, request, resemble, seek, suit, and so on. We do not use a preposition after these verbs. So it's something like this. We can only say Elizabeth entered the room, but we shouldn't say Elizabeth entered into the room because always entered implies entering into something. The rebels control the city. We cannot say the rebels control over the city because control always means control over something. So in these cases, the preposition doesn't go with verbs. So we can't say he married somebody, but we can't say he's married with somebody, right? Now let's look at how adjectives go with prepositions. Some adjectives can take a preposition. I am fond of a good book. You will be late for work. Phil is good at quizzes. The place was crowded with tourists. In all these cases, we have found, good, late, crowded, which are adjectives, and they go along with some prepositions. Many of these adjectives express feelings like afraid of, frightened of, scared of, terrified of. You can also say ashamed of myself, confident of, crazy about, curious about, enthusiastic about, eager for, excited about, excited at, impressed with, or impressed by the performance, fed up with housework, or bored with housework. So generally, most of the adjectives express feelings. Jealous of, envious of rich people, keen on fishing, nervous of heights, proud of our achievements, satisfied with my score or content with my score, tired of walking, worried about this setback, or upset about this setback, or absent from work. Available to members, or available for hire, capable of better things, conscious of, aware of what you're doing, clear to all the spectators, obvious to all the spectators, dependent on public money. All of these adjectives are generally, they talk about some sort of a feeling when we use them along with prepositions. Different to our normal routine, or different from. We can also say famous for, we can say harmful to the environment, successful in, suitable for, involved in. But when it comes to superior or inferior, it's rather to than. Okay, superior to, inferior to, fit for, full of, guilty of, kind to, short of time, similar to my last job, similar to. We can use at or by with alarmed, amazed, astonished, confused, shocked, and surprised. So we can say like I was alarmed at, or I was alarmed by. So confused at or confused by, shocked at or shocked by, surprised by. We were very surprised by the news. We use good at, etc. to talk about ability. Lee is good at skating. That means he can skate well. You're brilliant at maths. That means he can do maths well. I'm hopeless at languages. We use good for to say something that makes you healthy. Exercise is good for you. Overeating is bad for you. To say how we behave towards another person, we use good to. So rude to. So if it's like behavior, we say good to. If it's something related to health, we say good for. If it's something about ability, we say good at. So you have been very good to me. You have been very kind to me. You have helped me a lot. The waiter was barely polite to us. Now let's look at the third case where prepositions go with some nouns. Some nouns take a particular preposition. A tax on tobacco, time for lunch, the price of bread, no pleasure in shopping, feel pity for the victims. An example of what I mean. So, as we observe, some prepositions go with some nouns. For example, if we take the noun advantage, England had the advantage of playing at home. There's usually an advantage in playing at home. So what we have is like we can use advantage of and advantage in. Chance of, or opportunity of, or possibility of. So even of goes with chance, possibility, and or opportunity. The chance of a quick profit, or no possibility of an agreement. With respect to nouns like connection, difference, etc., we can use with, connection with, a link with, or a connection between, a link between, relationship with, or relationship between, contrast with, or contrast between, difference between, alternative to, substitute for. Now, we can also use prepositions with nouns like affect or influence. The new law has had some effect on people's behavior. The Beatles had a great influence on their generation, or influence over their generation. In case of increase, we say increase in or increase of. For example, an increase in crime or a rise in crime, an increase of 10% or a rise of 10%. We can also say a reduction in sales or a decrease in sales. A reduction of 4% or a decrease of 4%. A delay in approving the plan or a delay of 2 months. When we use way or method of or question of, solution to or answer to or key to the problem. Scheme for. Of goes with cause of, and for goes with reason for. So if you want to use reason, then reason for the accident, or cause of the accident. Now there are some nouns like appetite, application, demand, desire, need, preference, request, taste, wish, and all of these nouns take for. So appetite for, application for, demand for, desire for, need for, preference for, request for, taste for, or wish for. A need for low-cost housing, a desire for peace and quiet. When it's opinion, we say opinion of, and if it's attitude towards or attitude to. Belief, in goes with belief in, and on goes with attack on. For goes with respect for, or regard for. For also goes with sympathy for. And to goes with reaction to the news. On or about go with report, a report on agriculture, a report about agriculture. Similarly, on or about go with comment, a comment on the situation or a comment about the situation. With goes with interview with, and about goes with complaint, a complaint about the noise. Finally, with also goes with trouble or matter, having trouble with the computer. What's the matter with it? And to goes with damage, some damage to my car. And with or over can go with difficulty, like difficulty with arrangements or difficulty over the arrangements, lack of money. So in this video we have been looking at the different combinations of prepositions that happen in with verbs, adjectives and nouns. So there are some specific cases where certain prepositions always go with certain verbs or certain adjectives and certain nouns. So it's a matter of practice and it's a matter of idiom. So it's rather we need to look at them in dictionaries or the usage of them, understand the usage of them and practice them. It's very often that students confuse with one preposition with other when it goes with a verb or an adjective or a noun. And we can only improve ourselves in their usage by practice. Have a good day.